welcome back to another brand new video. Today's video is going to be a little bit different. It's not going to be a vlog, but we're going to be talking about my experience going into the delayed entry program with the Marine Corps. I want to go through like my experience with talking with the recruiter, going through MEPS, and my first couple experiences to my first pulley function and some PTs. So let's get on to the video. Alright, so the first thing that we're going to talk about is, okay, let's join the Marine Corps. So you're going to want to find a recruiter. My recruiter at the time when I decided to join was Sergeant Gornick, who is now on the 3rd, is going to be Staff Sergeant. But he was my recruiter. I was the last person he brought into the Marine Corps. So I've had a connection with him from like my summer to sophomore year, and or freshman into sophomore year is when I met him at the state fair. We've kept in contact, but obviously I wasn't old enough. But I got the text message at the end of the year of like the last month of school. Hey, aren't you a junior? And I'm like, yep. So we had our talk, and I agreed. Okay, I want to do the Marine Corps. So we had about an hour and a half conversation in the office talking about the benefits and stuff from the Marine Corps. I've already had this like idea of the Marine Corps in my head, so like actually getting and talking to him, like I knew that's what I wanted to do. And he came up, we had the question, so do you actually want to join the Marine Corps? And I was like, yes, but I need to talk to my parents. So that night I texted my parents after our meeting, and I was like, hey, so like Sergeant Gornick wants to have a meeting and sign some papers, because I'm 17, so I'm not technically able to enlist by myself or anything or sign papers. So the next day, literally the next day, at this point in time it's the last full week of school, so this is on a Tuesday or we had our conference, our talk on that Monday, and then that Tuesday we were up in Des Moines signing papers. So we were at the recruiting office, and yeah, that was our first step. Well, yeah, we got most of our papers signed that night, and then he's like, we're gonna send you to MEPS on, it was Memorial Weekend, so we couldn't do it Monday. Couldn't do it Tuesday because it was my last day of school and I didn't want to miss that. So I thought I was going on Wednesday. Like, Wednesday comes around, I had been ghosted. I haven't had any conference. Like, bro hasn't texted me or anything. Wednesday night he texts me. He goes, all right, you're leaving tomorrow. Be here at 900. I was like, or 0900. I was like, okay. And that's when it happened. Thursday came around, I packed my backpack, I had a change of clothes. I was told to wear nice clothes, nice pair of jeans, no holes or anything, and a nice t-shirt. And so I did. We pulled up to the office, and then we had two things that had to happen. Sorry, I didn't want to run out of clip time. So when we got to the office, he's like, all right, we're gonna sign a couple more papers for your parents, and then we'll get on to your ASVAB. So since I was able to take my ASVAB at the recruiting office, I did a practice test first to make sure I was gonna pass the test, and then I took a drug test at the office, and then after that I took my actual ASVAB, and then after that we did some more paperwork, got in the car, and we were on our way to MEPS. So when you get to MEPS, the first day it's pretty easy. It's a long day, I'm not gonna lie, but it's pretty easy. So you get there, like my experience, I had already taken my ASVAB, so I kind of knew what was going on. So we walk into the office together. You have to like go through security because it's a government building, obviously. So after you get there, you go to the front desk, you put your stuff in this room, and then you sit down and you read the thing telling you, okay, this is, your process is going through, I don't even really remember, but it was just like a thing, like, make sure to have respect, don't say anything stupid that you're not supposed to, yada yada yada. And then after you get done reading that little binder, it's not really little, it's literally that thick. After you get done reading that binder, you're gonna hand, I think, no. You have this stuff, but you don't really need it the first day. But this had my birth certificate and my social security card, and then I had all my papers I had to fill out, which I got that. I don't even know if they really need that. But I didn't need that for the first day, but I had to bring that with me. So I take my ASVAB. I take, I can't think of there's 2 other tests you have to take. One was like really weird. It's like a memory. Like you start out with 5, and then if the line's above, you add 1. If it's under, you subtract. I don't know how well I did on that test. I'm not gonna lie. It was not very, that was so hard. And then we had to take another, it was like, I can't think of what it's called, but it's more like computer stuff. But that test, I must have did okay on it, but that was done. And I had to wait for like 2 hours before the shuttle for the hotel came to pick us up. So we're sitting there until like 6 o'clock at night. At this point, I've met a couple people. I met this guy. He was from the Army. The other one was from the Air Force. He scored a 95 on his ASVAB. The other kid scored a 65. I think I scored like a 55 or something. It was up there. And then the other kid was like, oh, I bet I have the best score. He was from the Marine Corps too. And he goes, oh, I bet I have the best score. And we're like, what? And he goes, I got a 35. And I'm like, you barely passed the test. And he goes, oh, I thought that was good. He was not good. But after that, we headed back to the MEPS hotel, which was the Sheraton for Des Moines. And after that, we ate some food. At 8 o'clock, we had our meeting saying we're gonna wake up at 05:30. No. What am I talking about? 0400 was what it was supposed to be, but it ended up being 04:30 or whatever. And I think ours ended up going off at 4:45. We had to be downstairs by 5 and eating breakfast and on the shuttle by 5:30. So it was pretty early wake up call. Me and my roommate Jolyn, we didn't end up going to bed until like closer to 1 in the morning. So we were tired, but she was doing the National Guard, and then we also had another girl. She was going to the Army, or I think. But my roommate was going to the Army but doing the reserves. The other girl was going to the National Guard. And she almost tried to do the Marine Corps, but it didn't work out because she was doing her oath and all that jazz. But now we're gonna roll on to the day 2 of MEPS. So day 2 rolls around. Like I said, the phone goes off at 04:45, and I was like, "Fuck, we gotta do this." Sorry for my language. I was like, damn, okay, day 2, we got this. This is like the big day, like main day, like this is what they train you for. Not train you for, but like this is what, like, Gornick was like, this is the day where they're gonna drill you, trying to get things, like, don't talk unless, this is the day that we met I can't even think of what they're called, alumni? That doesn't sound right. Alumni? Like the person that runs your branch's office. I think Sergeant Earl was the person who was the Marine Corps alumni. I feel like I'm saying that wrong, but that's also that day was the first day that Gornick was working at MEPS, so I got to see him, and my nerves were like, I was really nervous at first. After I walked through the doors, went through security again, we put all of our stuff, and you're not allowed to have your phone. It's really boring, tedious. Like, you get to practice your hurry up and wait concept of the Corps, or like, because everyone's like, oh, it's hurry up and wait. It is. We were planning on getting out of MEPS around like 1 o'clock or 12 at the earliest. That didn't happen. but we'll get there in a second. So when you get there, you put your stuff back in your room, your phone shut off so we don't get any notifications, and then you go talk to your guy. So there was a whole bunch of people that were shipping off that next Monday, so they obviously were priority. They got through all their list. I sat there shaking in my boots, and I get in there. Sergeant Earl's like, do you have your paperwork? So I handed him my packet with all my stuff in it. Then so that stuff was with him. Also, the only thing that I had with me all day was my ID. So I was paranoid that I was going to lose that, but I never did, thankfully. So after that, after my first talk with Earl, I got sent over to medical. So I wandered over. I walked all over this building. So Earl's office is like clear back over that direction. So we went to the front desk, checked in with that guy, and then we went and checked in with medical. We get to medical, we sit down, we get the blood pressure taken, and you have to read this pamphlet, say like what's going on. And then after you take your pamphlet, you get your eyesight checked, which is normal standard eye check, colorblind test, and then there's like a distance check that the Marine Corps makes you do. You have like an extra test, and then you have your hearing test. You get your height and weight checked, and then we go and we wait in the room. I was like the first person through that process. Or no, I was the last person through that process. Then we go sit in the room where we get there's like a video talking about, this is what you can expect during your physical. For the females, blah, 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 blah. The males, blah, blah, blah. That's a little awkward, but you know, gotta get over it. So we're sitting in there, and then the Navy, I think she was a chief or something, I think so. She came back in and was like, okay, now we're gonna go back out there. If you have to, so we got out there, and then we had to pee in a cup. I had to go, so I was the first one to pee in the cup, so that was awkward. Somebody had to watch you pee, take it over to the window, and then you go dump it out. And then after that, you'll wash your hands, obviously, and then you go all the way around to blood drawn. And that was bad. I bruised for like 2 weeks after that. That lady hurt me. But I got this arm done. I was sitting there like, damn, this hurts. That was my first like time. I thought I was gonna get yelled at, because obviously you're supposed to say yes ma'am, no ma'am, but my brain was not really working. She's like, is this your initials? I was like, yes. Is this your initials? Or I was like, yeah, yes ma'am. She goes, alright, sit down. Maybe she was mad at me, that's why she pricked me so hard. But yeah, I got that done, and then we went, and I sat in the back in the waiting room waiting for the doctor. I'm gonna cut the clip. Okay, so another thing that everybody, like, I was scared about was that obviously don't tell the doctor that you have something wrong with you if it's never been in your record. For example, I had a knee pain my sophomore year of cross country. I went to the doctor for it. It came up on my record. I was told not to say anything unless asked about it. So I was like, okay, I'm not gonna say anything. I'm kind of a little nervous about it, but it was fine. So I was the only one sitting in there, so he's like, okay, come back. So we had our little consultation. We talked about that I'm a good kid, all this jazz. I'm sorry that air just kicked on. But we had our consultation, and then I sat back in the office. I was missing because he didn't tell anyone that he took me. So then I heard my name, Freeman, where are you? And I was like, oh, I'm back here. The doctor told me to sit back here. So I thought I was gonna get yelled at there, but I didn't. Then after about sitting there for like 20 minutes by myself in this little tiny scary hallway, I get told to go in this room. I had to strip into my bra and underwear, and so I did my duck walk. I had to do like, you bring it out, you touch your fingers without looking, you touch your nose, make sure your body moves right, and then he's like, alright, you're gonna strip, put this gown on, and meet me in the other room. And I'm like, okay. You. That was the day that I became a woman, that's for sure. They all say it's about your period. No. I got not violated, but like I walked in there, he goes, alright, pop up on the table, I'm like, looking at my ears, trying to hit the small talk. I'm like, yeah. And then he's like, alright, put your legs up. I'm like, okay, oh, go. Oh. And that was it. I was so scared for nothing. Gornick got me so scared, and I had toenail polish on, and I almost got disqualified for that. I forgot I had it on until he goes, "Oh no!" And I was like, "What?" And he goes, "I could disqualify you for your toenail, but since like your toenail polish." And I was like, "But most of it's like worn off." He's like, "Yeah, I'm not gonna disqualify for you because I could see that you don't have any toe issues or anything." But I was like, "Oh my god." Thankfully, Gornick was not in the room when I came back, but I was about to be like, "You forgot to warn me about toenail polish." I mean, technically I should have thought about it because he said fingernail polish, but I didn't think anything of my toes. But after that, I got done with my thing, and I was like, okay, I made it out of the clear. He didn't ask me about my knee thing or anything. So I put my clothes back on, and then she's like, "Oh, the doctor wants to talk to you real quick." And I'm like, okay. So I walk back in there, and I'm like, "Hey, what's up?" And he goes, "Sit down." And I'm like, "Hey." He's like, "So what's this like knee pelletory thing?" And I'm like, "Oh, you know, it was like," they said it was like pelletory tracking thing, but that was like, I was fine. I did some lifting, did a little bit of like training, and I'm fine now. It was just, I went to the doctor and he diagnosed me with it. I'm fine, you know, I don't have any discomfort anymore. And he goes, "Okay, that's all I needed to know." And I was like, "Yep." And he goes, "All right, you're good to go." So after that, I yandered to the front desk and I was like, "Hey, doctor said I was good. I got all my medical stuff done." And there goes, "Yep." So then I went all the way back over to Earl's office, which is back that way. I walked across there and he goes, "Okay, we're gonna do some," I think we did some paperwork a little bit, and then I had to do this little quiz for like why I joined the Marine Corps. It was like 78 questions or something like that. And then I went back to his office, and then I'm gonna cut the clip again, and then we'll talk about the more security things that we had to do, like with fingerprints. Alright, so I handed Earl the paperwork, or my quiz I got done. We did talked about a couple of other things, and he goes, "Alright, you're gonna be going to the fingerprint room and talk to the front desk, and he'll lead you through it." So I yonder over there, and he's like, "Go wash your hands with cold water, no soap." And I was like, "You could have just told me to go rinse my hand under cold water," but okay. So then that happens, and then I go into the cool little office room they have. I'm sitting at the table. My stomach's growling at this point. It's like 11 o'clock, and you have to read, every time you go into like a new area, you have to read a pamphlet of like, this is what's gonna happen, like some rules. If you lie, you can get in trouble and get dishonorable discharge or unhonorable discharge and like go to jail. So like, don't lie in any of your processing. So I get done reading this thing. This guy's like, "Oh, are you ready? Are you Freeman?" I'm like, "Yep." So we walk over there. He goes, "So you're going to the Marine Corps?" And I'm like, "Yep." He's like, "That's pretty cool. You're going to be in the delayed entry program first." "Yep, we're going to be in there for a couple, that's when he told me my ship out date. He goes, "Alright, you're going to ship out next year, in June." I'm not going to say my date because I don't want to get in trouble or anything. But I got my ship out date, and I was like, "Okay." And then he goes, "Alright, we're going to," or we didn't, what did he do? We talked about, my will. That was a little scary. He goes, "Alright, so you're going to be an E1 when you get in," which is a private. And then you're going to do a 4-year contract, but as a female, you don't have a draft number, so you are technically signing an 8-year contract, but you're only active for 4 of those years. And then the next 4 years is like, if there was a draft, I could get a call back. So yeah, that's that whole situation. So I was like, "Okay, cool." He goes, "Alright, so this is a little serious moment. What do you want your money, and who's taking care of your body?" I was like, my mom and dad are gonna have my money, my body," I was like, damn, 17 years old and I already have a will. And then I had to sign a couple things, and then after that we went outside of his office, I don't even know what this guy's name, I can't remember. We go outside this office, we go each of my fingers, all 4 of my fingers, and then my thumb, and then on both hands. So yeah, got my fingerprints in their system now. He goes, alright, go back to Earl. So we're walking back, and then when I get back to Earl's office, we do some scanning, and this is the last time when I left to go to the security office, that was the last time I saw Gornick, sadly. Haven't seen him since, but I've talked to him. But we got our fingerprint scanning done, or we had to sign some papers, and that was with the scanner. And then, no, Gornick was in there, and he was like, come on, Freeman, you're messing it up. Because it was so, like, his scanner was so sensitive, you had to have your finger in just the right spot. And I was like, it took me a couple tries. And then we had to sign on this little thing, and it wouldn't pop up there, so you had to just guess where your handwriting was going. Or it was on the screen, but it was weird. I was like, well, okay, whatever, signing all these papers. And then after that, he goes, go to lunch, and then check in with the office, or the front desk, and then you'll do your oath. And I was like, oh, that's crazy. He goes, congratulations, Freeman, you have made it all the way up to your point of your oath of enlistment, like to the delayed entry program. And I'm like, oh, great. And I'm like, it's so crazy. Like, I'm like overwhelmed with like joy and stuff. Gornick's like, congratulations, Freeman. So I walk up to the front. I'm like, yo, dog, I'm gonna go eat some lunch. Let me know when I'm gonna do my oath. And he goes, okay, I'll let you know. So I eat my lunch. I'm sitting there. I'm eating Subway, and I'm like, so when's this oath gonna happen? I sat there for an hour and a half. I think he forgot about me, honestly. And he goes, oh, nobody's done your oath? No. Okay, yeah. So I had to read this paperwork, talking about some more laws. And it happened. I was in that room. I'm gonna cut and talk about it. The room where the oath takes place. Oh my gosh, at this focus. This is the room that you see all the videos of raise your right hand and repeat after me. That was the coolest moment I've ever been through in my entire life. I was like, oh my god, I'm here. I'm standing in the exact room where everybody else had to come in and take their oath. So I did my oath with one of the army guys. He's like, blah, 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 blah. Oh, one of the most awkward things is, I can't remember the exact last line, but it has to do something with God, and the guy told me I could say amen, and the other guy didn't. So I was just like, oh, this is awkward. I was like, what do I do? He's like, in the Lord's hand, blah blah blah, and that was it. And I was like, amen. It was so awkward, but that's not the point. After that, I got to wander back over to Earl's office, and I was like, what's up, dog? I'm enlisted. Or not enlisted, I did my oath of enlistment. And he goes, congratulations. And then he hands me my cool fancy packet, which says, prepare to fight the battles ahead. And this is the coolest folder. Has the Marine Corps emblem. Oh, I don't know if it's gonna focus. And then we have some QR code for Squad Bay. I don't really quite have that set up, but this has all of my information. I'm trying to find I got these cool letters from the Marine Corps. And then we talk about the physical fitness test and the requirements. For our IST, which is the initial training or strength test, you have to do a minimum of 3 pull-ups for males and 1 for females. You have, and then you have plank, which the minimum is 44 seconds, and then a 1.5 mile run, which for males it's under 13:30, and for females it's under 15 minutes flat. And then we have our future Marine talking about the Marine Corps key values. I can't think of what it's called. Honor, courage, and commitment, and the reason why they choose those. And then I didn't get this until we got back to the office, so I'll talk about that in a little bit. So yeah, after we had our meeting, I got the cool folder, and then I had all my other information sheets I needed. And then I got my pulley shirt, which is hard to see because it has the ghost emblem on it. You might see if I put it up close. It has the eagle, globe, and anchor on the front, which is hard to see. Oops, sorry. And then we have the Marine Corps Few the Proud on the back. We have to wear this to our PT and pulley functions. Pulley functions are once a month, and PT is for me and Evan, since we live an hour away, it's once a week. So until cross country, and then I just have to make sure I check in with my recruiter. And my new recruiter is Staff Sergeant Murado. I think that's how you say his name. I'm guessing that's how everyone says his name. But yeah, we have to call him every Monday and make sure we're not getting in trouble. I haven't had any major changes or anything. But yeah, after I got done with Earl, I had to go sit and wait for Brink, I think is his name, Sergeant Brink. We had to wait for like 3 hours. He's like, oh, he'll be here in like 30 minutes. He didn't end up coming until like 3 o'clock. That was so tiring. Alright. Maybe. So when we got back to the recruiting office, we had, I actually don't know the guy's name, but he's like the boss of our recruiting office. He came out and talked to our parents. I got two travel mugs, a nice little Marine Corps water bottle, and Marine Corps lanyard, and a little like tie bag. And then the different MOSs, because he said that I could wait to pick my MOS in August or October when the new job lists come out, and since I'm a senior, I'd have first pick. But yeah, when we had that conversation, I'll talk to Murado more about it, but I think that's pretty cool. And then right here, this is the sheets that this is our information pulley guide. It just has like the ranks on it, the leadership set, principles and traits we need to learn, weapon safety, some history, and 11 general knowledge the 11 general knowledge of the Marine Corps. If you want me to go and talk about some of my experiences at PT, because I already have some cool stories from that, I can. And my first pulley function was actually so funny and it was like, oh my god, I can't believe that happened situations. So if you want me to make another video about that, I will be happy to make that. If you want to follow me on any of my socials, they'll be up on the screen. I hope you guys enjoyed my video. I didn't really talk about like a lot in detail. I just told you my personal stories. If you want, I actually, never mind. I don't know the guy's name, but there's a guy that his like channel, he talks about like Marine to millionaire. You should go try to find that guy on YouTube. He talks about all like the cool things that he wish he knew before he got in the Marine Corps and all that jazz. I've been watching his videos. But yeah, if you want to follow along my journey, I'm going to post more about the Marine Corps, or like my experience going through the Marine Corps on here. And maybe even if I make it, which I probably will, I'm going to post about my duty station, not about my duty station, but I'm going to post my like vlogs at my duty station, all the fun people I meet, all my like not parties, what is it called? Ball I go to. Like, I want to have everything documented. I'm going to, obviously, right now I still have a whole year of high school, 9 more months of school left. So, obviously we're going to have high school in there, but I'm excited to have my future planned out for the most part. Not fully planned out, but I have my ideas. So I hope you guys enjoyed. Bye!